Welcome to the Sideline. I'm Andy Katz. Well, this is going to be a home for a lot of original content in college sports and beyond. Now, of course, you're going to get a lot of that similar content that I produce for NCAA platforms, Big Ten Network, and other places. But I needed a home for a lot of those interviews with the newsmakers in this space. So where are you going to find it? Right here at the Sideline. Let's get to it. And welcome everyone to an off-season chat here with Kansas Hall of Fame head coach Bill Self. And Bill, you look well rested. It's a new season. I want to do a little macro here first. Since you won the title a couple of years ago, actually more than that, it feels like
3 years ago.
3 years ago, 2022 victory over Carolina. It was a great Final Four run. What's life been like in this new Big 12 and this new era in the portal and guys coming and going since then?
You know what, Andy? It really hadn't been very good. But in 23, I got sick. So my health was messed up for, at least 12 of more of those months.
I was with you in Hawaii when you weren't feeling well.
Well, and that was actually 8 months after I had my episode. And so yeah, I had to coach with the pick line in that year and all the different stuff going on in addition to my other stuff. So it's probably not fair for me to say, do I hate what's going on? I don't hate it, but I haven't felt well during the change, at least initially. And I am just now getting back to where I'm attacking it every day rather than kind of being on the defensive from a health standpoint. So I'd say the last year has been a hard year for us. We weren't as good. We weren't as competitive as what I thought we could be. And then B, in this new world, it's difficult because without the guardrails, but you keep hearing and your administration telling you that there are going to be guardrails. And so did we approach the portal and the NIL in the most aggressive way? I would say at 75 or 80%, where some people were all in regardless until they tell us, no, we're all in. We were like cautiously in. And if that makes any sense at all, we end up doing really well. We got a good team, no excuses. I love the guys we got, but I feel like now for the first time, like in any business where you go through a major overhaul, major changes, I feel like there's at least a sense of some guardrails or definitiveness on how we're going to move going forward. Because you could ask any coach in America, what are you telling your kids on how much they can make next year? And the answer is no clue. Because you still don't know, you don't have a clue, but it's closer to having a clue than it was, I'd say, 3 or 4 months ago.
Well, and at least now within your own house, you can have a sense of the rev share.
You can
You
have a sense of
still,
the rev share.
you're not going to quite know yet on the NAL piece, but at least you know the rev share. Is that right?
In theory, yes, you know the rev share, but what about all the schools that front loaded everything, so their rev share is going to be double for this next year, and there's a lot of things going on, but the NIL piece, to me, is very definite the way the NCAA has explained it will be, but cautiously approaching it in a way. Well, will this actually hold up? Because you know it's all going to get challenged. And when it gets challenged, how is it going to be after it gets challenged? I believe there is a part of it that said, well, schools aren't going to be the one challenging it. It has to be the individuals. But you know as well as I do, when somebody's told they can't make this because it's not doesn't fall into what true NIL and the market value says, somebody's going to challenge. How can a third party determine what the actual market value is if somebody's willing to pay? It's just that stuff's going to happen, but I actually hope it happens sooner rather than later, so we actually know what we're dealing with.
And another thing about this era that just didn't happen in the past, and no one is immune, is guys coming and going. I mean, it used to be
Oh,
if you go to Kansas, Duke, Carolina, you're staying put until you go to the league or you exhaust your eligibility. And all of you are feeling the effects of both ways in the portal where guys are coming in, they don't like the playing time, whatever, deal better, they go somewhere else. Like that's a whole new thing for everyone. I don't care what the name of the front of the jersey is.
it's not the portal is awesome by itself. It's not the NIL if is awful by itself. It's the combination of the two that basically everybody's a free agent every year. So for instance, and you bring up a good point. You go back to some of the teams that we've had, and it doesn't matter who it is going way back. You could recruit a top level player, and you could recruit another top level player, and you could recruit another top level player, and those kids can be there more than 1 year or only 1 year. It makes no difference, but you can actually go out and recruit top level players. Now there's not enough money to pay three guys as top level players. So what would be your third option as far as the payment scale will be somebody else's first option. And so everybody is going to be have that potential to be a guy that can be a number one option from a payment standpoint all across high majors in America. So it eliminates the stockpiling of players, so to speak. Uh, uh, I know that when we won it in '08, I think we had seven NBA guys on that team. Hey, the days of those things happening are going to be hard to do. Because of the seven guys we had on our team, three of them may be seniors, two of them may be juniors, one of them may be a sophomore, one of them may be a freshman, and then they continue to get better and get to that point. Now that freshman ain't going to go to that school because you got NBA guys ahead of him. He's not going to play as much. It delays him getting to the league, and somebody else will play more because he's your fourth highest paid guy on the roster as opposed to being the highest paid guy. So it's different. Easier to fall from the top down, but also much easier to get from down to the top, just
Well,
based on how the portal falls.
the other thing that's interesting that's gone concurrently while you were talking about the health issues and things happened the last couple of years is there used to be you guys could have a Kansas down year and still win the league. And Houston is coming
Oh
in
yeah.
at a high and they were already doing well in the previous leagues, and then they come in and they sort of capitalized on that vacuum. What has that been like the last couple of years to have a league that's even better than it's been, which is pretty remarkable?
Yeah, we won the league 14 years in a row and 17 out of 19. And then Houston rolls in here and they've won it the last two. Not only won the league, dominated the league the last two.
Didn't lose a road game last year.
Yeah. And well, they lost one and then we gave it back to
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
And how do you lose a game up 6, 18 seconds left, shooting free throws, miss them both and lose the game? But anyway, uh, 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 they have been terrific, and they were terrific before. We haven't been as competitive the last two, and although the league's been good, but the top end of our league has been Houston. Let's just call it Texas Tech was good last year. Arizona was good last year. Baylor's been pretty good. We've kind of taken a step back. BYU was really good last year. But the elite, when you talk about the winner of our league having a chance to win a national championship, it's basically only been one school in our league the last 2 years, and that's been the Cougars. Whereas before, that's usually been us. So we know that we got to upgrade. We got to get back to where we were before. But in order to do that, the teams you got to go through to get there are teams that are all capable of being a Sweet 16, Elite Eight type teams, and which makes the league hard. But I think we got a team that we can get back to that point.
Well, and to that point, I feel like you're back to more of a balance that used to. I mean, six freshmen, including Darren Peterson, who's going to be right there with AJ Dubance for the best player in America, both in the same league. You've got some guys returning, and you've got three transfers. I mean, I love Melvin Council from
Yeah.
St. Bonaventure. I mean, I think he's just going to take that next step. Trey White obviously could blossom for you. So, I mean, you've got these pieces. I mean, what do you think of the way this roster was put together? It feels a little bit kind of like you used to do it.
It does. I think we got a good blend of youth and experience. Of course, Darren, it doesn't make any difference if he's a vet or a newcomer or whatever. His talent level is pretty undeniable for the most part. But I think we got old enough pieces to go around him. And one other school I didn't mention a second ago was Iowa State. You know,
Yeah.
TJ, they're in the game every year.
Yes.
So it's a monster league. But we should be better. Uh, we got a couple additions late with Mbia. I don't want to mispronounce his name with Paul, and then with Cole Rosario as well. So I think in the last 4 weeks, our talent level's gone from here and even to taking a step up. But I like our guys. I think we'll be able to put 10 guys out there that all have that are definitely contributors at this level, and we'll have more competition in practice, and it should be fun. But a big key to our team will be your best player playing at an elite level, and because he is a best player guy. I mean, he's as good as we've recruited since we've been here.
Well, and I said in the Big 12, you usually have elite players, potentially number one draft picks. What do you think of that? That there are going to be two in this league with BYU's Devanza and yours with Peterson.
There'll be two in this league, and there's other good players too. But still, you got the experienced guys. Will those two freshmen be good enough to be as good as Houston seniors and juniors? Will they be good enough to be as a topping from Texas Tech? Because there's good players in this league all the way through. What our coaches in this league has done a good job of, in all honesty, is portal recruiting and recruiting 2 and 3 year guys from other schools that emerged to be the best players in this league. I mean, New Mexico. I mean, they were terrific last year, and that was before Topping left. I mean, that was after Topping
Yep,
left,
yep.
and Topping's the best player in our league last year. So it's interesting. The portal is an interesting dynamic because uh, you really shouldn't take dips. You can kind of plateau a little bit, but you can recruit the difference. Before guy leaves unexpectedly in the spring, there's not enough of a talent pool available to go out and replace him. Now the talent pool that becomes available isn't available till the spring. So obviously guys can fill those needs a lot easier.
One of the many great things you've done in your career, I think, when you've gone to these different spots, is you've embraced the past. And I think the hiring of Jacques Vaughn is another example of that, of bringing people back in the fold, players that you may not have coached or worked with. And you've done that with your staffs. What were you thinking, like to always have that link? And obviously he's well accomplished in the NBA, college, but so it's not like you're doing any kind of favor or reach here.
Well, we lost Norm. Norm retired, and of course, Norm and I have been
Norm
together
Roberts.
forever, and he's terrific. Uh, 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 so when I was looking at it, how do we fill a void in our staff? And we did it a little bit last year when we hired Chase Buford, ex-player, but Chase has NBA background, head coach in the Australian Basketball League, won the championship twice, comes from a pretty successful basketball family, obviously, with his father, RC. So we hired Chase, who was great. But still, yet Chase didn't, he's younger. He doesn't have the name recognition in some ways, even though he's really good. So when the job opened, I was like, what do we really need? We probably need a lens from a different perspective. And so who's out there? And I was like going, well, let's try. Is there anybody that loves KU? And to be honest, I thought Nick Collison and I thought Jacques Vaughn. And Nick and I visited briefly, and that's he's in such a great situation with Oklahoma City, and we happened to catch Jock just at the right time. I called Jock and I said, "Hey, man, I'm going to surprise you right now. I want to ask you a question." He said, "What is it?" And I said, "You be interested in coming and helping us?" And he said, "You're right. You caught me off guard." And so he talked to his family and his wife, and he said, "I think I would." And because being from KU is the bonus. The reason he's hired is because He's been an NBA coach 3 times. The guys he's worked out, instant credibility with the guys, great on the floor, younger. There's a lot of reason to hire him. And then on top of it, he loves this place. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty easy decision.
Scheduling wise, you never ever shy away from anyone. It's unbelievable. Again, obviously, you got the champions Duke in Madison Square Garden. You got at Carolina return game, UConn series again, at NC State with Will Wade. That's going to be a really good game. Missouri and KC. Davidson's always solid. And then even an exhibition game against Louisville. I mean, oh, and
And
then
then
players era.
and then the
Yeah,
player 3 games in the players era.
right. Notre Dame and Syracuse, we know for sure in Vegas. We don't know the third game, of course. Thoughts on this gauntlet even before you get to the Big 12?
You know what? It's hard. The younger you are in this profession, the more your one loss record concerns you. Uh, Now we always played a good schedule, but it was always a schedule that I wanted to set up to say, okay, how do we go 12-1 non-league? How do even though it's competitive, the worst we can do is be 11-2. And at the end of the day, the older you get, how do we get prepared for, a 3-week run? Let's just call it like it is. The leagues still mean a ton. Don't get me wrong. But the number of teams in the league, it's like if you make that your sole focus to win the league, you could finish fourth in the league and win a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before, when it was the big 12 with only 10 teams in it or whatever, well, we know if we're the best team in our league, then we'll have a chance to compete against the best. Hey, now the top 5 teams in the league could go to a Final Four. So it's a little bit different on how you want to prepare yourself to be your best when it counts the most. And so we're not going to run the table with our non-conference league, even though I hope we do. The bottom line is if we can compete and have success against them, that means we can compete and be great in our league. And if we can be great in our league, we can play with anybody. That's kind of the approach that I think that most people are taking.
And you are still playing these home and homes. I mean, obviously you got a tournament. What do you think the future of scheduling is?
Uh, Schedule games that can make your administration money to
Okay.
off to offset all the extra costs that we're having. Uh, uh, One of the good things about playing 2 exhibition games is you can be bought to go play a game like Louisville, and then we could buy them to come back here. Well, it may not seem like much, but you can actually make some money that may go against the rev share number for your university or whatever the case would be. So there's some. I think the scheduling is different. I love the Maui's, the Bahamas. Those are such great team bonding things. You know, it costs you X amount, significant flight, travel, and all, to go over there and play. And then you have something like the players there. No, they pay you to come do something like that. So the whole deal from an administration standpoint is how do we cut costs and make money? So I think there's going to be more one-offs, so to speak, whether it be a tournament or whatnot that is put together that is for the purpose of not only scheduling good opponents, but how do we make the most money and still travel the least?
All right, last a couple things, rapid fire. Coach's challenge. What are your thoughts?
I like it. I'm a little concerned, and Andy, it was thrown out there initially what the rule would be, and then I think they tweaked it. So what is it? You get one challenge, and if you
Yeah.
get it right, you keep getting it back.
Yes.
So and then it costs you a timeout if you don't get it right. I
Right.
I I actually like it. It's still going to be some strategy. Do you ever use it early? The answer is probably no. Then do you use it with a buck 50 left in a game on a bang bang play that if you don't get right, you don't have one for the rest of the game? There's going to be some things that's going to be kind of strategically done that I think it'll take a minute for coaches to get used to it, but I think it's a good rule.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a learning curve. This is being discussed, but it's not going to happen now. Quarters versus halves. Where do you stand?
Definitely quarters.
Why?
Positive defensive intensity and pressure. Because when you get your 15 foul with 13 minutes left in the first half, you play defensively on defense to not foul. Whereas if that's the case, you shoot the bonus for 3 more minutes and then you get a fresh start the next 10 minutes. I think the game would be better in quarters.
Another rule that has not changed yet, but it's always discussed, is advancing the ball.
I think anything. I go both ways. Advancing it makes it more exciting for the end. I think you're playing for one. You get the shot off with 3 seconds left. Give yourself a chance to maybe get a tip in. The ball goes in, and the other team has 3 seconds to beat you because you executed perfectly. The one thing I don't like about the NBA is because you can advance it, when they shoot the ball at the end of the clock, they shoot threes with no time left. So the other team doesn't have a chance. I think it'll change the philosophical approach. But I like the idea of saying, you know what? The other team has one timeout left. You know that. So we're not going to take the shot with more than 5 left. Now, if you do that, all you did was give the other team a chance to beat you on the other end. So part of me says, let's keep that one the way it is.
And last thing for you, as we are talking, there's been no decision. Keep it at 68, 72, 76.
That one's one that doesn't really matter much for me. You could take the approach, well, less is more, but less was 32, less was 48, less was 64, less. The bottom line is every time we've expanded, the tournament's actually gotten better. So I'm actually okay with whatever they decide to do with that. I think from a coach's standpoint, for the good of our profession, I think more would be good. There's a lot of guys that unfortunately this hasn't happened to me yet, and I hope it doesn't. A lot of guys' job is based on if they're 68 or if they're 69. And of course, there'll always be that next team or whatever. But I think the more teams that get in, I'm actually good with that.
Bill, I always appreciate it. You look good.
Have a good one, Andy.
Thank you.
All right, take care, bud.
Thanks for watching and listening, everyone. And as always, you can follow all our social media content at The Sideline with a K. Our content appears on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course, YouTube, TikTok, X, and Instagram. Check out all the content at The Sideline with a K.